So if you're looking to get into home bartending, like exactly how I was about 6 years ago, then you're probably wondering how to exactly go about buying the ingredients for making your cocktails when you're first getting started. And there's a ton of videos online that are extremely overwhelming, talking about the first 10, 15, 20 different bottles you need to buy, and also telling you that you need to go out and buy all these different fresh fruits and all these different syrups and sodas and bitters and all these liqueurs and all these other different countless ingredients, and you could just get extremely overwhelmed. And I can relate because that's exactly how I felt between the years of probably 2014 and 2020. During that time, I had thought about getting into home bartending at least 2 or 3 different times, and I made tons of different excuses. And one of the biggest excuses that I made was that I just wasn't ready to go out and build out this huge bar with all these different bottles of alcohol, all these different liqueurs, all these different sodas, syrups, fruits, all these different types of ingredients. Because, at that time, I was still a college student or a medical student. I was living in dorms. I was living in Airbnbs. I was living with my parents at different times. I was moving around a lot. I didn't have my car the entire time. I did medical school abroad, so part of the time I was not even living in the United States. So for all these different reasons, I was looking into that as a big excuse for why I didn't get started. And in June 2020, I finally, scrapped all those different excuses, just went out and bought the different bottles for my first cocktail, made my first cocktail, and can finally call myself a home bartender. And that's led me on this very rewarding journey that has lasted about 6 years now. And during that time, I've, hosted about 60 different cocktail parties. I've learned 150 plus different cocktail recipes, and I've been teaching on YouTube for over a year now. I've made over 125, over 130 videos by this point, just teaching different bartending topics. And a really big question that a lot of beginners have is, how do I go about buying my first few bottles? How do I go about buying the different ingredients when I first get started in terms of being a home bartender? I don't think you need to go out and buy all those different bottles and different ingredients that all those different videos talk to you about. I think that you should do things the exact same way that I did things in June 2020. And that was to just pick one cocktail and then buy the ingredients just for that cocktail. So this is really a 2-part plan. The first part is to just pick a cocktail to begin with. And I have really 3 levels of answers that I can give for this question. If you're wondering what your first cocktail should be, the level 1 is the most brain dead response that I can give you. If you just want to turn your brain off, just listen to me, and make your first cocktail as soon as possible. The perfect first cocktail that is going to be out there for you guys is going to be the Daiquri. There's a reason the Daiquri is the very first video that I have ever made on this entire channel. I think it's a perfect beginner cocktail. It's a classic cocktail, only 3 ingredients. It's a template for all other sour cocktails. It's extremely popular even now in the year 2026, even though it's a drink that's over 125 years old, dating all the way back to the late 1800s. Great cocktail. I think if you just want a brain dead answer, you just want to turn your brain off, go out, listen to me, make a cocktail, have it be the Daiquri. That's the level 1 answer. The level 2 answer is that instead of just choosing brain dead from the Daiquri, I'm actually going to give you a list of 5 cocktails. These are 5 essential cocktails. I think all 5 of these cocktails should be learned within your first 6 months of being a home bartender. So it's really natural and easy to just make one of them be your very first cocktail. And that list of 5 does, of course, include the Daiquri, but the other 4 are going to be the Old Fashioned, the Martini, the Margarita, and the Moscow Mule. All 4 of these cocktails are very similar to the Daiquri because they all contain just 3 or 4 ingredients. They're all classic cocktails. They're all template cocktails that open the world up to a different family of cocktails. The old-fashioned family, the Martini Manhattan family, the expanded sour or New Orleans sour / Daisy family with the Margarita, and then the highball family with the Moscow Mule. So for all these different reasons, classic cocktail, template cocktail, just 3 or 4 ingredients. And also on top of that, all 5 of those cocktails, Daiquri, Margarita, Old Fashioned, Martini, Moscow Mule, all 5 of those cocktails are still extremely, extremely popular in the year 2026. If I asked most of you guys to name like 5 or 10 cocktails, probably all of these would be on that list because they're just that well known, that extremely popular. So my level 2 answer, if you're wondering what your first cocktail should be, is to just pick one of those 5 cocktails. And my level 3 answer is actually the approach that I took. My level 3 answer is to, just pick whatever your favorite cocktail is. I really didn't have a favorite cocktail at the time, but a cocktail that I particularly liked was the Negroni, mainly because it was my brother's favorite cocktail at the time. So because I was spending time with him, and that's why I drank the Negroni a few times on different occasions. That's why that was such an important cocktail for me to make. That's why I ended up making it the very first cocktail. And Negroni fits a lot of the other classic traits that those other 5 cocktails contain. It's also a classic cocktail. It also contains just 3 ingredients. It's also really part of that whole template. It's in the Martini family, but it also is sort of a template cocktail for the Martini family, the same way the Martini is. So for all those different reasons, I think Negroni is a great first cocktail as well. But honestly, just pick whatever your favorite cocktail is. If your favorite cocktail is the espresso martini, go ahead and do that. If your favorite cocktail is a gin gimlet, go ahead and do that. If your favorite cocktail is like a hurricane or something like that, just go ahead and do that. There's tons of great options for your first cocktail. I think, level 1, brain dead answer, just do the daiquiri. Level 2, if you want some more options, just pick one of those core 5 cocktails: daiquiri, margarita, old fashioned, martini, and Moscow Mule. And then my level 3 answer is just go ahead and pick your favorite cocktail. So using one of those different strategies, that's how you pick the first cocktail that you're gonna make. And then step 2 is to just go out and buy those ingredients. So I have made tons and tons of different tutorial videos on all these different cocktails. I've actually made it on all 5 of those core cocktails. Those videos will be linked in the description below. So just go ahead and watch whatever my video is on that specific cocktail. If it's one of those 5, just go ahead and watch them. They'll all be linked in the description below. If it's a different cocktail that I have made before on this channel, just go ahead and search my channel. I made videos on a ton of different classic, modern, classic, contemporary, different types of cocktails, different families. If your favorite cocktail is the hurricane, I have a video on that. If your favorite cocktail is the bee's knees, I have a video on that. All these different cocktails. If your favorite cocktail is a Paloma, I have a video on that. So tons of different cocktails. If I don't yet have a video on whatever your favorite cocktail is, I haven't made videos on like the espresso martini, for example. Just go ahead and comment that down below. I'll go ahead and make a video as soon as possible. I'm a really small channel right now, so I really want to focus in on helping all of you loyal subscribers and people that are watching these kind of videos. I really want to make this channel as personable as possible, especially when I'm still in the smaller phase of this channel. So whatever your favorite cocktail is, just comment that down below. I'll go ahead and make a video on it as soon as possible if I haven't already made one. So, just watch my video on that cocktail, and that's how you learn the recipe. That's how you learn the technique. That's how you learn how to really make the cocktail. And whatever those ingredients are, the recipes are always linked in the description of those different videos. So you can just take a screenshot or something of those different ingredients, and then you can go out to the store and buy those ingredients. When you're first starting off, I don't really expect you guys to make any of your ingredients, like syrups or juices or things like that. Just go ahead and buy bottled lime juice. Go ahead and buy bottled simple syrup, and just go ahead and buy different ingredients. So, for example, if your first cocktail is a daiquiri, watch my video on the daiquiri. It's the first video on this channel, and then go ahead and make that daiquiri. So to really buy those ingredients, just buy rum, lime juice, and simple syrup. Just buy those 3 ingredients. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't think you need to go to the liquor store and buy 5 different bottles of alcohol. Don't think you need to just go out and buy all these different juices, all these different fruits, all these different syrups, all these different ingredients. Don't go out of your way. Don't go do any of that stuff. When I made my very first cocktail in June 2020, this is the advice that I'm giving you is the exact advice that I used when I made my very first cocktail, when I finally overcame all those different limiting beliefs. Follow that same advice. When I wanted to make the Negroni, that was my first cocktail, I went to the liquor store and I just bought those 3 ingredients. I bought gin, Campari, and sweet vermouth. I didn't buy anything else. Just those 3 bottles. I went home and I made the daiquiri, and then I learned how to really work on that technique. I learned how to master the daiquiri. I made it for myself. I made it for other people. All those different things. Then once I felt comfortable with the daiquiri, then I picked a second cocktail, went back to the store and bought the ingredients for that cocktail. And that's the natural progression. This video is really focused on the first cocktail. Just pick your first cocktail using one of those different techniques that I showed you guys, and just buy the ingredients for those first cocktails. That's all you have to do. That's the real action step for this. If you are thinking about getting into home bartending, you haven't made your very first cocktail yet, that's what you can do after watching this video. After the video, you should be able to not only pick your cocktail, but you should also be able to understand the ingredients for those cocktails and go out and buy those ingredients. Don't have to buy anything else. That's all you have to do. That's the only real action step from this video. Then once you're ready to move on, I have other videos showing you guys how to actually put everything together and actually make those different cocktails and all those different things. I also have videos going on the progression. How do you make your second cocktail, third cocktail, fourth cocktail, so on and so forth. I have different videos going over those different topics. But for right now, pick your first cocktail, buy the ingredients for the cocktail. That's all you need to know. That's the main action step to take away from this video. And that's all the advice I have for this video. If you find the advice in this video helpful, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I like to do 2 styles of videos on this channel. The first style will be a tutorial where I show you all how to make a specific cocktail. Examples of that are the different videos that I linked in the description below, telling you guys tutorials basically on how to make daiquiri, margarita, old-fashioned, martini, Moscow Mule, all those different cocktails. And then the second style video will be like this one, where it's talking head style, answer questions on different bartending topics. I share tips and tricks. I share stories from my own journey, things like that I hope will help you guys become better home bartenders. And finally, if you want to take home bartending even more seriously, I actually have a paid community on school.com. That'll be the first link in the description below. Thank you. Cheers.